Hi guys, it's Debbie from healingfrombpd.org, and this is probably one of the most emotional videos that I've made in a long time. In terms of, I'm not sure how emotional I'll get on screen, but just to let you know, in prepping for this video and thinking about how I would present this topic to you, I did become very emotional. And the reason is because I know that there's a wide range of ages of people that follow me, and men and women, and it doesn't matter what age you're at, this message is for you. But I guess in thinking about my younger self when I was in my early 20s, if you're in that age group or around that age, and you're just starting to learn about your diagnosis, just starting to find out about treatments that are available, I really am gearing that even more specifically towards you today, because that was a really, really hard time in my life, and it is a huge, drastic change from where I am now, and I want to be able to tell you a little bit about what it looked like back then for me. I want to give you some insights into some ways that I was really making my life very difficult, causing a lot more pain and suffering that I could have prevented had someone had this conversation with me, or suggested that I look at a few things in my life. And it's always possible that they did do that at that time, but I just wasn't receptive. So if this video even reaches one person and you have that aha moment, or you feel like you can really relate and connect to what I'm saying, and maybe your eyes are opened for the first time, or maybe they've been open for a while and this is just confirmation of your experience, I just want to encourage you to check in with your therapist and work on this, because you can save yourself years and years of unnecessary suffering. There were two symptoms of BPD that were really strong for me in my early 20s, to the point where I wasn't even aware of how enmeshed I was in the symptomology of it. And the two pieces were the paranoid ideation and the fear of abandonment. And the way that this showed up specifically and often is that I would tell myself stories about situations, about relationships specifically, and most often, and other people, that I would make up in my mind, based on things that I had noticed, or things that I had felt, or things that I had thought, often with no evidence. And then I would run with it to the point where I was acting on those thoughts and feelings as if they were facts. So, just to give you an example, when I was very young, I got married to an older man. And I often did this. I was very young. I was 18 years old. And if he wasn't paying attention to me, if he went away to go run an errand, all sorts of things, when he did these things, I would literally make up stories in my mind that he was out cheating on me, he was out doing this, he was out doing that. And I would believe it. So there would be no evidence, and I would just completely be convinced based on my own thoughts and feelings that it must be true. And then when he would get home, I would react as if those thoughts and feelings were true, and it caused the whole world of problems. That's not to say that he was a complete angel, but we won't get into that. We're just focusing on, what my peace and perspective was at that point. And I did this with all kinds of things, with jobs, with family members. And over the years, as I began to become aware of it, and it started in a massage therapy school class, actually, when one of the teachers said that we all have our own stories, and we have to look at our stories and determine whether we believe them or not, and if we're living as if they're real. And that made me start to question how I was handling life. How I assumed that if I thought something about somebody or a situation, especially in a relationship, and especially in an intimate relationship, that it was automatically true, I was right, there's no doubt about it, and I behaved from that belief system and was often wrong. So a lot of the things we tell ourselves can come from fears, can come from past hurts, can come from all sorts of things. But if we live our lives based on the stories we tell ourselves, and we don't even have evidence to know that they're true, I can't even tell you how much pain and suffering we end up creating in our lives unnecessarily because of that. So I would put those types of thoughts and the emotions actually that come up with believing our own story in emotion mind. I would put into the rational mind the coming up with ideas and challenging the types of thoughts that we have into rational mind. And we want to find that intersection in the middle that we talk about in DBT called wise mind, where we go, okay, what is true about the situation and how can I best proceed from here in a healthy way? So if you notice that you're doing this, and many people do, I've noticed it with other females in my family, we've talked about it, and they said, oh my god, I do that too. I like, you know, somebody says something and gets up and leaves the room, and I say, oh my god, well, he must have done this and that and the other thing, and without any kind of backup or confirmation, she's believing it, she's treating him accordingly. It's kind of like when you have a dream about something that happened, and then you wake up and you're angry at the person because they were a jerk in the dream, and you treat them as if they did what they really did in the dream. It's almost like that. It's almost as illogical as that, but it's something that we do often as emotionally sensitive people, or people who have a trauma history, that sort of thing. If I am the one that gets to shake you today to say, let me take a look at the stories I'm telling myself in my relationships and at my job and in different situations, to see if I'm just automatically kind of knee-jerk reacting and believing my thoughts, because as you guys know, I always love to say, don't believe everything you think. If you can challenge those thoughts this week, do so. If you can challenge the different stories that are coming up in different situations, just look at them. Is there any evidence for this? I think it will be an amazing opportunity to practice reducing suffering. Let me know what you think about this. Can you relate? Does this ring a bell? Does this resonate true with you at all? And if so, how? Thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video or blog post.